Hello. How are you? I hope everyone is doing great today. We are here in Colorado. It is snowing, but barely. So it's not really all that fun. But today we're going to talk about AI and how AI is affecting and reshaping how we market. And so this kind of goes beyond, okay, we know that chat, you can write blogs and so forth, but really looking at, okay, what's going on with AI? How is it going to change the marketplace from a marketing perspective? How is it going to really impact AI, or how it's going to really impact marketing jobs? And also how to embrace it to have that competitive edge. And so we're really going to dig into the nitty gritty today. And so I know that there's a lot of fear around artificial intelligence. And so that's the first thing I want to address is yeah, there is definitely this opportunity to lose jobs. 100% there's going to be. But I choose to think of it in a little bit different fashion. I choose to think that instead of losing jobs, we're transitioning jobs. We're changing how we do business. We're doing it more effectively. Today, I just read an article right before we went live about 93%. It was say 93% of Generation Z, which is the generation that my youngest son is using AI as part of their business or part of their working environment. And there were several studies saying, oh, well, that's horrible because now they're not getting the experience they need, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like thinking, well, do you really need that experience? Because if a machine can replace it, was it really necessary for that? Instead, we need to be thinking of how we can take AI and work on those things that are repetitive, those things that we really don't want to do, that don't need that human interaction, or that can help make you stronger, make you think more strategically, make you really, go that extra mile instead of just doing repetitive things. And so I think that it's not necessarily, yeah, some jobs are going to go away, but on the other hand, it's also going to create a different type of job. And so we're going to talk about that and how that relates to marketing. And I just think it's so important. And so to just be fearful of it and ignore it is not the way that's going to happen. I'm going to tell you a quick story, real quick. So back in the early 2000s, I was working at a big corporation, big healthcare technology company here in Denver. And I was in charge of the university program. And so what my job was to seed our products, our technology products within universities, medical schools, pharmaceutical schools, nursing schools primarily. And the idea was that if someone starts using our software and our technology in that student environment, then the idea was that they were going to use it in practice. That makes perfect sense. Companies all the time do this. And so I was looking for opportunities of how do I actually reach the students so that I have them also driving usage. So not only was I connecting with the university and making sure it's available on the computers, making sure it's part of the lesson plans, but also I wanted to drive student use. And I found this resource where I could advertise to these students. And it was this online community where you basically were in groups. And so if you were at, the University of Colorado, that would be your group. And there'd be all these students hanging out and you could advertise and be part of that group. Now, at that time, it was really expensive. And of course, I took this idea of, going through this type of community and I took it to the head of my department. And I got a big no. Of course, no, we don't do that. Why? No, that's different. No, keep doing magazine ads, keep contacting them directly. Well, that little community ended up being Facebook. So, how sad was it that we could have been on the ground floor and really been part of something that grew into what it is today. But instead, we said, no, that seems too scary. We don't know anything about that. That's not what we do. So let's ignore it. So we think of it in the same way with AI is I don't know a ton in the sense of where this is going. I can predict, I can read all the articles, I can listen to all the interviews. I see that there is a huge future. I don't know what that will look like. I don't know if anyone really does. But the one thing I do know is that this is AI is one of the things, just like when the internet became popular and people had to get websites and it became the all be all. You have to have a website, you have to be on the internet. This is where you do all the searching, this is where you do everything. When social media became a big deal, a lot of people said, no, forget that. We don't need to be on social. It blew up and it really is a good channel for a lot of businesses and a lot of people. And now we have this shift to AI. And so I think it's really silly to ignore it. And so that's why we're talking about this. And that's why it turns out that we kind of were early adopters of AI when it started becoming available. It ended up being this thing where I'm like, well, I'll just try it and see what happens. And at first I thought, oh my goodness, I'm cheating. Like I really felt like I was cheating. It was giving me answers that I needed so much quicker than just doing a Google search. It was helping rephrase the thoughts in my head that weren't really coming out smoothly for blog posts. It was helping me create more content, better content, quicker. And I was like, well, that's cheating. Well, that's a silly thing to think, right? Now it seems totally silly. We use AI all the time. And so we started really getting into AI early on. And so that's why we started offering AI consulting services to a lot of businesses because we wanted to help them and show that you can actually use AI for good. Is it going to take over the world? I don't know. I'd really like it to take over my cleaning and my laundry if it could. But what are we gonna do? It's here. It's gonna stay. So you might as well embrace it. So let's talk about how this impacts marketing. And I want to talk about this from an aspect beyond just, okay, I can create content with this. Because yes, you can create content with it, but there are so many more things that you can do as well. So how is it changing marketing operations? How is it changing how we talk, how we communicate, how we analyze our data, all of that sort of thing? So, the first thing I want to talk about is automation of repetitive tasks. We hear this all the time. What do you mean, repetitive tasks? What are you talking about? There's a lot of things in all of our jobs, whether we know it or not, you have a system on which you're creating whatever deliverable you're creating for your clients. So in the marketing case, if you're putting content out, that is something that you do on a repetitive basis. One of the aspects of that is social media. I promise I can talk today. Social media. We create posts, we take content, we create all these posts, and then we need to put it out there and we need to schedule it. AI can help us with that. AI can help us schedule at the right time for our audience to determine so that we have the best opportunity for them to see it. Now, the social media giants like Facebook, Meta's Instagram and Facebook, they're already using AI in the back end. They're determining what your interests are, what content to show you. It's already there. And so to help you, you have to also use it from your end as well. One of it is scheduling tools. Now we used to use later.com, but they were just purchased by another company. So we actually went to High Level. And I can put our link down below in High Level if you want to check that out. But it basically combined our CRM and a lot of our marketing tasks. And so that we can use those to schedule. Another thing on repetitive tasks that it can really help within the social media realm is direct messaging. So things like ManyChat, where you'll see this all the time. You'll see a video or something on social and it says, hey, for anybody who puts the words AI in the description below, I will send them blah, blah, blah. Or connect with me and DM me these words. And what happens then is the ManyChat will then go ahead and automate all that so that they're getting whatever that lead magnet is that you're wanting. So you set up the workflow of what that looks like. So if someone says that word or DMs me this word, then it's going, this will happen, and then this will happen, and then this will happen. And so it kind of brings people around without you having to touch them, but brings them down into your marketing funnel so that they are more of an opportunity. Another way you can use AI within social is just trying to generate hashtags, generate new topics. Think about things that might be important keywords so that your content is being shown to more people. Email marketing is another one. How are we segmenting our audience? Even looking at the data of what we're getting. If you're sending out emails on a regular basis and you're seeing changes, or you want to analyze and see, okay, what content do people most open or interact with? What content are they actually clicking through? You can take your whole data set and your analytics and say, okay, tell me what is happening here. Is it the time of day that we're sending? Is it the content? What is that? And so you can really take large data sets, and you don't even have to have that large of analytical data. And you can put that into an AI tool and figure out, okay, where's our strategy need to change? What is best for our audience? What is happening? What's really making them react? You can also segment the audience in the sense of somebody abandons a cart. If you're not using abandoned cart, it goes basically someone goes through, they add something to their cart, and then they don't actually follow through the purchase. AI will allow you or help you set up a new automation for that so someone can, so you basically, that person who abandoned it will then get an email that says, hey, we noticed that you didn't purchase this. Is there something we can help with? Do you have questions about this? Do you want to jump on a chat? And you can actually use chatbots to help you. So there's a lot of things that you can do from the back end to really help you elevate the results that you have. Now, both of these things that I've talked about, like the social media, just posting and being able to automate some of those direct messages can save you 5 to 10 hours. Using email marketing and automation and segmenting your audience and really delivering the content that your audience needs, that's saving you 3 to 6 hours. Do you see what I'm going here? The more hours you can save on doing some of these repetitive tasks, actually, you can put that time into selling more. You can put that into the things that are really moving the needle. So then let's look at ad optimization. In ad optimization, there are platforms that are Ad Creative, AI, there's also Smartly.io. And so basically, it's helping you really target in, really address and capture your audience attention, allowing you to test and figure out what is working. We also have Facebook ads and Google ad predictors. And so that you're going to see that a lot more of these resources using AI to help you be more successful. And so no longer are you going to have to adjust things, make educated guess. The systems are going to be able to tell you, hey, if you do this and this, we think your results will be this much higher. And so I think it's really important that we look at that because I've been in marketing for 30 years. I know a lot about marketing. But at the end of the day, I don't know everything. It's constantly changing. It's constantly adjusting. And so when we really think about, okay, I need help on figuring this out, or I need to understand better how the algorithm's working so that I can do these things. I think it's going to elevate our role as a marketing person to be much more strategic, to really think through what really has to be accomplished. And so when we're looking at that, it's important to understand that there are part of our jobs that we can let go so that we can focus on the good stuff. Now, next, let's talk about improving customer experience. I know chatbots are horrible at times. They're getting a lot better. I actually had a good experience the other day with one we use Kajabi for our website, and something was happening. And in the past, I had tried to use the chat box bot because everything within chat, if you're on any type of website, you notice that you have to do the chat before you can get to a real person. And the idea behind that is so that there might be easier questions that could be answered from an article you've written, or a how to, or a video, or it might be something to narrow down so that you get the person to the right customer service representative versus the wrong one. Because nothing's worse if you call someone and like, oh, you got reached the wrong department. So let me send you over to this department. And then you go to that department and like, oh no, you went to the wrong department. Let me send you over to this department. Where a chatbot can actually help you really narrow the focus and eliminate those people who just had a really simple question that didn't really need a human response to it. So that's important. That integration, we're going to see a lot more chatbot integration within websites, within Facebook Messenger, within the WhatsApp, to really engage customers where they are. And that's an important aspect of how do we reach customers, but then how do we reach them where they are at that point. And so I think that the more you teach a chatbot how to answer questions, the more educated it becomes, the better it's going to be able to help your customers without needing a human to actually do something. And so there are a lot of products around that to look into. I was talking to a woman the other day, and her company, they manage, I think she said 300 properties. So they're a property management company, basically. And she was talking about the number of people who call in the middle of the night because they locked themselves out of their house or their rental property. And it clearly states in their lease, as well as the material they give them when they move in, is that, hey, if you get locked out, that's not our responsibility. You need to call a locksmith. But they get calls every night. And that's really hard on her employees because somebody has to be on call. And so she was asking me, and we started talking about, okay, there are chat bots that can help where somebody can, type in the question and then they can respond, hey, you need to call a locksmith. This isn't technically an emergency. If she could eliminate those emergency calls from the ones that aren't emergencies or the responsibility of the renter versus the ones that are truly emergency, a pipe is broken, the basement's being flooded, blah, 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 that's an emergency. But unfortunately, all of our customers don't always know the difference between an emergency that has to be dealt with today and an emergency that can wait until open business hours. And so I thought that was really interesting and why and where she's taking her AI portion of how that can help her and her employees. Now, another thing for service-based businesses, because I talk a lot about product, but even service-based, automating your appointments, booking and scheduling, making sure that you're getting scheduling and you're getting high bookings can really be something that you can use AI for. Lead generation, that's a huge one. That instant customer service, which we just sort of talked about. But, a chat bot can actually help you engage 24/7. It can answer just frequently asked questions. It can qualify your lead before it actually talks to a human. And so you are no longer necessary for you to waste time. How many times have you gotten on a call with somebody who has scheduled a time on your calendar to find out they didn't even have the budget to work with you? They really had no idea where they were going to go. Or even worse, they didn't show up. That is so annoying. Why don't people show up? It's baffling me. You made this appointment, show up. And so you can actually use and develop scripts, custom scripts, and just answers to frequently asked questions. You can use qualifying questions or disqualifying questions to figure out what they're doing. So let me give you an example of this because I don't know if I'm really explaining it well. Say you're a law firm and you have someone call in and they want something they need help with something. Say it's a divorce. They want a divorce. I had to think of something really quick. You can ask qualifying questions so that you make sure you get them to the right people, the right person. So if you're a big law firm and you have divorce and you have injury and you have estate and you have all the different things, just sending them to any lawyer isn't really good for them or you. You're wasting both people's time. So instead, if you ask some qualifying questions that came through on chat, a chat bot or some sort like that, you can then be able to really focus them into talking to the right person right off the bat. And so we have to be thinking about that. The same could be done with a plumber. A plumber handles after hours calls. What is that emergency versus what can I wait till the next day? AI can really help beyond just, you know, thinking about what it's out there now. How about follow up, customer follow up, or prospect follow up? One thing we use a lot here is Otter AI. And Otter AI will record a meeting. It will summarize a meeting on Zoom. It will give me takeaways. It will give me, and we pay for the subscription, so it'll actually give me the whole script. I can look at all that stuff. And I'll tell you exactly how I used this last week, just last week. It was Wednesday night. I had a lot of networking events that day. I was exhausted. The next morning, I had meetings starting at 7:30 until 1 o'clock. And then I had a really important prospect call at 1:30. And it had been a week since I talked to this prospect. But honestly, if you're an entrepreneur, you know a week is a long time. It really is. There's just so much going through your head that sometimes you're like, what did we talk about? Well, luckily I had Otter AI. So all I had to do is on Wednesday night, I'm exhausted. It's 7 o'clock at night. I just want to go, eat something and sit down for a little bit and relax. My brain had overworked. And I'm like, no, I got to prepare for that meeting because I knew had to be somewhere at 7:30 in the morning and I was not going to get back to my office until 1:15, and that meeting was 1:30. So I had to prepare the night before, but I was already worn out. So I ended up going back and looking at what did we talk about last week. I took the summary of what we talked about last week and I just copied it. I put it into a chat and said, please refresh my memory, chat. What do I need to be prepared for tomorrow's meeting? What do I need to deliver? And it gave me even another summary that really suggested things that I, at that moment, was not able to really think through because I was so tired. And I think it's important and interesting how we can do it. I'll give you another example really quick of how you can use chat in a little bit different way. By the way, that meeting went well. In the morning, when I was at my 7:30 meeting, I felt good because I knew I was prepared for that 1:30 meeting, even though I wasn't going to be back to the office until right before the meeting. So that part ended up good. But this weekend I was thinking, okay, we need to do a little better job of meal planning this week. And my husband is low carb and I want high protein from an energy standpoint. We both work out. And so I need some new ideas. So I asked Chat, I go, hey, Chat, can you help me with menu? Can you help me create a menu for this week that's high protein, low carb? And it asked me some questions. Does it need to be kid friendly? What dietary restrictions? Hey, what do you have in your cupboard or your freezer that you can use? And sure enough, I asked it and it gave me a whole list. And so a couple of the items it suggested, I'm like, oh, that sounds pretty good. Can you give me the recipe? Sure enough, it gave me a recipe. Is it complicated? No, it's not. But on a work night, I'm okay with that. It's pretty easy. But it even gave me suggestions for leftovers. So my husband could take leftovers the next day from the meals that I prepped. I thought that was sort of funny. I kind of like using it a little bit different. Another way that we are going to be able to use AI is enhanced data-driven decision making. Years ago, I was the senior pricing strategist for a big telecom company. And my job basically was to crunch data and crunch numbers and figure out how we should price our products. And it was very interesting. And there was an entire department, that's all they did. that is a big telecom company. They had a department, they had all the tools to be able to analyze all this data, all this information. Well, now you don't have to have a whole department. You don't have to have a big data set to even analyze. Instead, we can do predictive analytics. It's a game changer for marketing. It will help businesses make smarter decisions by analyzing the data that they have, determining future trends, determining customer behavior and how customers react to certain things, and what marketing outcomes can we expect. It's not just for large corporations. It can actually really help small businesses. I personally think AI is one of the biggest competitive advantages a small business can have, because one of the biggest challenges we have as small businesses is that we can't get it all done. I don't know how many times I come with these great ideas and I'm like, okay, I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to do this. And I'm thinking, all right, that's great. That's a good idea. But where am I going to fit that in? I'm already working 60 hours a week. Where's that fitting in there? Okay, I already got my staff working a lot of hours. Where am I going to fit that in? And I think this is going to allow us to get more done, to make smarter decisions. So let's look about the type of data that you could possibly look at. Maybe you want to look at, and I've gotten this question so many times, how do I determine my target audience? What is my primary target audience that I want to go after from a marketing perspective? A lot of small businesses are like, I'll just take anybody. You have money, you want to pay me? That's not the way to do it. A lot of times, taking all those clients will cause you a lot of problems in the long run. You really do want to target your message and identify those clients. So let's say you have customer data. You can look at demographics. You could look at location. I saw the other day a cleaning company, and he was putting his map up of the areas in which they've done projects over the last year. And I was thinking, okay, he could take that data and he could actually put it into AI, analyze that data, and determine from that big map, and it was of the Denver metro area. So that's a large, especially with our traffic problems, that's a large thing. If you're based on the south side and you have something in Boulder, and then you're going to go from Boulder to Aurora and back, that's about as much as you can do based on the traffic and the service calls. And so I was thinking, okay, you could use all that data and really narrow in those areas in which are the highest number of clients, available projects based on cost, money spent, revenue generated, and really focus down into neighborhoods and then market to those neighborhoods. There are so many different things that we could look at in a different way that used to take us thinking about that and spending time analyzing that data. And as entrepreneurs, as business leaders, as marketing people, we don't always get to delve into all that strategic side. And I think AI is going to allow us to do that a lot more. We could look at purchasing history, repeated customers. What does a repeated customer look like versus a one-time customer? How do we start targeting better to make sure that we have repeated customers, repeated buyers versus the one-time? Website behavior. What pages they're visiting, how long, where are they staying? We have a product on our website that kind of shows us the traffic and how they move through our website and where they're stopping, where they're clicking off. And that's really important information to analyze and see, okay, what do we need to improve? Marketing performance, we have your ad performance, click-through rates versus conversions. What do those people look like? How do you reach them better? Social media engagements, the shares, the comments, the DMs. You see where I'm going with this? You can take any type of data content and really put it into AI and say, analyze this and give me a summary of what I need to be paying more attention to. Sales revenue, seasonal, it can be anywhere. So AI is really going to help us improve our decision making. I would like to think I'm smarter than the average bear, but the truth of the matter is, I have a lot going on as an entrepreneurial, as a mom, as a wife, as a friend. There's a lot going on. And so anything that's going to make me look smarter and act smarter and make smarter decisions, I am all for that. So when we improve our decision making using data through AI, we can really focus on what matters and what we should be working on. Now, I think another part of this is looking at how you can use AI without teams. So if you don't have a large team, this is another thing that you really need to kind of look at and say, how can I use AI to do the jobs or the projects that I just don't have the team or I don't have the capabilities right now to hire another person? And that can be anything like CRM tools that have an AI component to help you really kind of bring in. I mentioned we use High Level, and it has this tool where I can take a picture of somebody's business card and immediately take that content in there and put it into a file. And then I can set that up into a marketing funnel if I want. You can, in a lot of the marketing email tools, they're starting to use AI. They're also like MailChimp has one, Activate or Active Campaign. There are different ones about sending emails, what time of day is best. They can actually take your email list and break it out and segment it so that they can send, this group it in the morning and this group in the afternoon, because that's where they've identified when people are more likely, those group of people are more likely to open it based on certain data factors. Also using AI content tools like Surfer SEO. It's interesting in looking at search engine optimization because I think this is going to change with how we search today and how important it is to be on the first page of Google is going to completely change. No longer is it going to be, okay, whoever pays the most or whoever has the most keywords end up making the front page. We're starting to see AI tools through Google, through I can do chat. There's another one that just came out too, where instead of you doing a traditional search, you're actually searching through the chat first before you even see the website. So, what does that do for our search engine optimization work that we have worked so hard for? I don't know yet, to be honest. I really don't. But the way we search for content, the way we get content is changing. Therefore, we're going to have to change with that as well. And so it'll be really interesting. Now, another benefit within marketing that I sort of talked about earlier is speeding up the creative process. How we're creating content is speeding up lightning fast. We're taking one piece of content, like for instance, this live. We'll take this live, we will chop it up, we will put little clips, and we will put those out as shorts. We'll take this is on YouTube and LinkedIn right now. We'll also take that and put it on our blog. We'll also add it to, since it's an AI topic, I have an AI newsletter called AI Simplified on LinkedIn. I will also put a link in there. I will reuse this content over and over and over. Well, we had to manually do that. And anymore, we now have AI tools to be able to do that. One we use is Descript. We use Descript a lot, and let me tell you exactly how I'm using this. This might help you. I'm on this live. I'm talking freely. I do have an outline of kind of what I want to cover, but sometimes I say things or I tell a story that I didn't even think I was going to tell. And so I take that. My marketing manager puts it into Script, the video itself. She gets a transcription. Transcription comes back. It says exactly everything that I said in this video. I take that and I put that into chat, or you can do it in Jasper. We use Jasper too, whatever site you want. And I say, okay, well, I'm going to do a blog post about this and summarize can you write content around this using keywords that are relevant and really geared toward somebody listening to our video? And so then it'll spit something out. And so then I can use that content along with the video and put that on our blog. And then guess what? That creates more social media content. We can take the full video and use AI to clip important parts within the video instead of manually having to go through and look at all of it and listen to every part trying to manually clip that. There are a lot of things that we're going to be able to do with AI that if you're not already doing them, you're going to have to start doing them or you're going to be left behind. Grammarly, if you're not using Grammarly, I've talked about that one before. There's Surfer SEO for SEO optimization. I mentioned we use Jasper for writing, copywriting. A couple more resources. Descript is great for AI video. I accidentally said something on a video. It was one word. I said like blog versus podcast. It was a silly word. And in Descript, when we were in the editing process, I told my marketing manager, I'm like, hey, I misspoke on this one word. Can you just change that one word? Because I don't want to re record this entire 10-minute video for one word. Sure. So she had me read a phrase so that the AI could hear me speaking in a normal speaking. And then she could go in and just replace that one word. It was really easy to do. That's awesome. I didn't have to go back and re-record it. First of all, I didn't remember half the stuff I even said after recording everything because sometimes I ad lib and sometimes that works out great. Sometimes I don't. I had to redo it. But that is really good for video editing. There are a couple others here that I have for you. Runway ML, which is for AI video editing and effects, and 11 Labs. And it's a voice cloning and audio generation. Here's some other images and design creation. This is another one that I personally think that creating AI images needs more work. Now, I haven't tested it in a while. Last time I tested it, it was like, the table didn't have legs or it's supposed to extend a picture and it didn't turn out right, or the woman was missing an arm or had an extra arm. It just wasn't working right. So I think there's still a lot of work that can be done. No, I was using Canva. I know they've done more stuff around it. It just wasn't what I wanted. But Midjourney, I know, is one for art and illustration that's really popular. And there's also AdCreative.ai. I would really encourage you to try them and see if that's not what you're really good at as far as creating content, or you need content created quicker, faster. Then those are tools that you might want to try out. Now, what about ideas? How do you create new ideas? I use chat a lot. I 100% think that paying for the subscription is worth it, that $20 subscription. I also use Perplexity AI a lot. That one is great for research and coming up with new ideas. There's also one called Lately AI, which is social media content repurposing and analyzing long form content and actually generating social media posts. I have not tried that one lately. I'm actually kind of eager to try it and see what that looks like, because I would love for us to know we are planned out for a big chunk of this year as far as our content, but things come up, what we can do more. I want to give you this one little stat though. AI driven marketing is expected to grow to $1.8 trillion by 2030. That's only 5 years. That's crazy. Now, really quick, I want to get back to taking over marketing jobs. So I started thinking about this. If these repetitive jobs and these jobs that we aren't doing as much or need to do as much, what does that really mean for us as marketers? And as I mentioned, we have a dog that's chewing on his bone right up against my. He's like right up against the leg of my desk. So I'm like, stop doing that. Anyway, sorry. So what does it mean for our jobs? One, all of these AI tools that we've talked about today, it still needs humans. It still needs, you still have to decide what to do with that content. You still have to put the strategy behind. So how we teach strategy, how we learn strategy has got to speed up. A lot of times we get more strategic as we do. And so as we learn, but we're going to have to be better at making decisions and being decisive and really understanding the long-term effects. So I think that a job that is going to create more of is an AI marketing strategist, overseeing those AI driven campaigns. Another one is data analytics. Data's, I can't even tell you how much data has come as far as from a marketing perspective. In corporate, we looked at data all the time. In as an entrepreneurial since for the last 15 years, I use data all the time to kind of get insights. But someone still has to look at that and say, okay, yes, that's yay. Yes, that's no, that we don't want that. Also, you're going to have a lot of AI powered content creators. I heard, let's listen to podcast. I think it was a YouTube podcast recording or whatever the other day. And the guy was talking about that. Yes, you can create blog posts, for instance, at a chat. But as more and more people do that, the content isn't going to be anything that's fresh, new. You still need to add those stories into it. You still have to have it relatable. There is still a human aspect of it to make that content actually good. And if you're not even asking the right questions to chat, your content's coming out really generic. As more and more people do that, generic content doesn't really do anything for your customer. It doesn't help them do anything. And so you're going to have that human understanding to be able to ask the right questions, to dig deeper, to really make sure that content is correct and that it is giving value, not just regurgitating somebody else's information. And so I think it's really important that we look at that. Now, in creating new jobs, think about it. I didn't even think about this until I was doing the research for this particular episode. And I realized that a social media marketing manager is a relatively new term in the last 15, 20 years. It wasn't around. We had marketing managers, you might have an event manager, but we didn't have a social media manager in corporate when I was in corporate. I left corporate in 2010, and now you have entire departments dedicated to social media. And so I think that there are going to be a lot of jobs that will be covered, that will be created by artificial intelligence. But we need to, of course, expand our skills. We need to be more strategic. We need to use our human creativity. We need to learn how to use AI and manipulate it for the purposes that we want to grow our business and meet our goals. And we need to stay up to date on technology. Technology isn't going away. AI is not going away. You're going to have to teach yourself and understand how it can work and use it to the best of your abilities if you want to continue growing in marketing. Also, within small businesses, here's a couple tips I have for you. I was thinking about this. Start small. Try one thing. Just try one thing. Open a chat. If you haven't downloaded chat, download chat. Ask for your recipe meals for the week. Ask for it to plan something. Ask for it to suggest topics that you can talk about at an upcoming networking event. Start small, but just you need to start. Then look at what are those tasks, repetitive tasks that you do on a regular basis that could be automated. That's really important. If you can take away some of those repetitive tasks that are real time consuming, could you focus your time on something better? And then I would suggest either investing in an AI trainer, an AI powered marketing team, an AI consultant. That's what I do now is I really help companies with implementing, looking at their systems and understanding where AI can help them. Investing in that for your future. Now, I wanted to leave you because we're going along today on some actionable strategies that just to help you get started with AI. One, don't wait. Start experimenting. It's not going away. It was easy to ignore for a little while, but now every single day, business news all about AI. Our entire future is about AI. So it's really important to really grasp what it can do for your business and start using it. Identify one area within your business that you could benefit from AI, whether that be content, ads, automation, anything at all. You can use it for building out systems. If you've been plugging away in the back of your head about well, I need some business systems. Well, use it. Use chat. It'll help you. You could really get a good foundation of systems using chat. Now, test 1 to 2 tools in your workflow. So, whatever you identify where you need something, go ahead and, test out a couple things. A lot of the AI tools allow you to test for 7 to 14 days, sometimes up to 30 days. So it is important to kind of do that. My next tip is remember that AI is here to enhance. It's not here to replace at this point. So how can it enhance what you're already doing and help you better serve your customers and increase your revenue, improve your efficiencies, even improve your employee satisfaction? And then always continuous education and adapting. How we do business today may look completely different in 3 years. It could look completely different in 1 year. Things are changing, and the more that you understand that and are flexible and move with the changing tides, the better and the more stable your company is going to be. Alrighty, so let's talk about this. We talked a lot today, or I talked a lot today. We talked about how AI is reshaping marketing, how we're doing things differently within marketing, that there are opportunities here, and that we can't look at it as just threats of losing our job. Instead, we have to get smart with it. And we're just evolving. We also talked about a lot of different ways in which we can use AI to help us within marketing your business, or whether you're a marketer. And we also talked about several different tools that you can use. And I'll put those in the notes below so that you have that. And then how you can use it, and then how important it is to embrace it. So there's a lot we covered. Now, if you are wondering, is my business ready for AI? We have a fun little quiz on our website and at behindthedesignco.com, and just go to the AI consultant page, and there'll be a little quiz there. And then once you fill out the quiz, it'll actually give you, it has a couple different things, but it'll give you the 10 top AI tools every business owner should be using. You can also drop me a line or in the comments and tell me if you have an AI question. And the other thing is, I'm just checking my chat because I always forget to look at it. And in this case, I don't see any questions, but if you want to post some questions, please do. Now, next week, we are talking about amplifying your brand using guest podcasting to build your authority. And so we're going to be talking about how, if you're not ready to launch a podcast, but you want to be on a podcast, you want to gain your visibility, I'm going to give you step by steps. I started appearing on podcasts in 2023. Yeah. Last year, I did over 20 podcasts as a guest. And now, March 3rd, we will be launching Hobby to Profitability podcast, a podcast that really kind of shares different insights and tools and strategies. We'll talk some AI, we'll talk some marketing, we'll talk some business around what it takes to move your business from a hobby or from just a job to an actual profitable business. And that's a big distinction is so many of us go into starting our own business, whether as a freelancer, as a consultant, whatever, a coach, and we end up just creating a really hard job for ourselves. So we're really talking about how do you take that from creating that job and you're working so many hours, and how do you move that into really an operating business that allows you to take vacations, that allows you to actually operate when you're asleep, that allows you to build something beyond just you. And so that's Hobby to Profitability podcast, and that starts on March 3rd. So please join me next week as we will have we'll talk a lot about podcasting and guest podcasting, so that'll be a good one. And if you think of anything, reach out. Schedule time with me. We can always chat. All right. I